Okay, this is the critical lap. This is the critical lap. Confirm.
Leave me alone. I know what to do.
Welcome back to the Critical Lap F1 podcast. Daniel, how are you?
Doing good. Great to be here, man. Great to see you.
Yeah, another great week of racing in the books, in the logs.
Yeah.
It was a fun weekend. What's going on with you? Things all right?
Yeah, things are great. Little SI joint issue. I was sort of feeling for George Russell this weekend because he's a little under the weather too. But nothing a little hot bath and little racing won't fix.
Yeah. Poor George Russell. I think that somewhat got overlooked. I mean, I know they mentioned it a couple times, but I didn't notice it until after the race that he really was.
He
just
looked
not
rough.
feeling great.
Like, oh,
yeah,
that's a sick Russell, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment where they all jumped on the podium, spoiler alert, and everybody started shaking and spraying all the champagne, and he just turned his head away. He just turned to the side and just like sprayed behind him. It's like,
not to
George.
jump too far ahead in the race, but the podium was kind of a low-key event this week.
Everybody a little tired, a little odd.
Yeah. Carlos Sainz kind of had that walk like he was just coming back from his appendectomy. He was just kind of like scooching around a little bit,
It had the feel of when you show up to one of those work happy hours, but it's only people you don't really know. It's not the people you thought were going to be there from your seat. Like, hey, how you doing, man?
Oh,
you all right?
man, I thought James was going to be here.
I'm feeling a little under the weather. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, it was a good race. Welcome back to our regular listeners. If you're a new listener, welcome.
Thank you for hanging in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're a new listener, thank you for checking us out.
Yeah, there's a lot of F1 news, a lot of F1 content out there. So this is your critical lap, though. If you want only the best information, and the best analysis, I think obviously the humor, right? Hot takes, stuff you might have missed. But welcome back. We are covering the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, or as we like to call it, faster, smashier Monaco. Because that's kind of what it felt like today. Oh man,
that's actually clever. I have something in my notes about how this is just Middle Eastern Monaco. I don't even know if it's really Middle Eastern. They just have a strong presence in the petroleum industry. Trivia for you: Azerbaijan first oil refinery. Do you know what year they built their first oil refinery in Azerbaijan in Baku?
I'm going to go with 1892.
1859.
1859. We were refining oil that long.
Oh, not us.
No. I mean, just like we as the human race.
Yes, the human race was refining oil, but
like I'm specifying, like horses were doing it earlier.
Yeah,
the human race. we kicked it off.
But I feel like if you took my ancestors in 1859 and you dropped them in an oil refinery in Baku, they would think they were on planet Jupiter.
Oh yeah, just like the aliens are here. Hey, we out here making oil.
They got fire coming out everywhere.
We gonna put these in lamps or what? They were ahead of the curve there. It was I felt like this was an enjoyable weekend. Let me get your overall take, Daniel. I mean, obviously qualifying was a special situation.
Yeah. No, if you're a true fan of the sport, I mean, I don't want to say you can't be a true fan of the sport if you're not watching all weekend, but if you're into it, like some of us here on the show, most of us on the show, and you're watching all the events, it was a great weekend to be a Formula One fan, no doubt, because the best part about any race is like the unknown outcome, right? So even the winner of the race, there was still some like, okay, there could, like, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away.
No, I mean, it is time to give the people what they want. So if you have
time to spoil.
It is. The spoilers are here. Let's jump into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The race results. Daniel, I hate to say it's expected, but after last week or 2 weeks ago, the last race in Monza, Max Verstappen takes the win. He takes pole in qualifying and then converts it to a win. Kind of a quiet race
fastest
for him.
lap. Max, what I would like to say about Max this weekend is he did a Max.
He pulled a Max.
Max was quite the Verstappen this weekend.
Yeah. I do love how I think even he's starting to realize 2023 is the defining year of his life.
Yeah.
And everything he does will always be judged by, back to 2023 form.
Yeah.
Right? when he's washed up, if he's ever washed up and not performing well, people will be like, I mean, it's no 2023 Max. I think we all
Max is
remember
going to go on to win the Indy 500, Le Mans.
Yeah.
Probably set a lap record around Nürburgring in multiple classes.
Sure.
Probably Dakar.
Yeah.
He's going to turn 60 and have all these achievements behind him. They'll be like, so tell us, your favorite moments from 2023. And he's going to be like, I've done so much more, guys.
I've done so many other things. Have you not been paying any attention?
Yeah.
Yeah. That, or he's going to be like full Dutch Uncle Rico. Like, hey, how much you want to bet I can go 2023 on y'all and win every race?
Yeah.
Max Verstappen first place. George Russell, our favorite second wheel this week, pushes through the pain, pushes through the illness, and pulls out a second place finish. And then Carlos Sainz, vamos
Carlos,
operator, with a third place finish for Williams. Williams' first podium since 2021.
Yeah, well, first they call it the first green flag podium because they got the podium in 2021 because the race ended prematurely.
Oh, that's
I
right.
think that was Belgium 2021. Yeah.
George Russell, ironically. Yeah.
Indeed. But 2017, their last just full race, actually made it on the podium. Yeah.
Man, that feels like a long time. And it feels like a long time for Carlos Sainz. That hype train went really high and then it kind of fell off. And we've been hoping good things for Carlos Sainz. And it was great to see him on the podium. That mood was a little down at the end of the race. I don't know if they were all just feeling, I don't know. But that's your top three.
Maybe, so these are minute 40 laps, minute 40 to minute 50 laps, right?
Yeah.
It's 51 laps. It's not a super long race, but it is taxing. It is driving.
Yeah.
I want to point out, not only are the barriers just undetectable in terms of which ones are bouncy, which ones are concrete. We saw that with the qualifying. We saw that with pushing the limit.
Which of these are squishy?
So many cars got broken. Yeah. Barely grazing a concrete barrier.
Some of these are squishy and some are concrete. Guess which one?
Yeah. Let's play a game. Anyway, one thing I want to point out too is the entry to the pit lane had this little S curve in it, and every single driver would keep accelerating into this little S curve to a certain point through the curves where they could hit the brakes and make it down to the correct speed before crossing the threshold.
Yeah, I screamed a little right there at the end. I forget who was coming into the pit lane, but they were following other drivers and then they cut right to, I think it was like Max Verstappen coming to the pit lane. And I thought he was crashing. He swerves through that S curve and then slams on the brake. It might have been Norris. I think it was Lando Norris trying to get that fast stop. It turns out he could have slowed down a little bit and it still would have worked out slow for him. But
anyway, it just goes to show the work you have to put in to push it all the way to that wall every time, but not hit the wall. Because there's no I just crossed the white line. They're going to wave the flags at me. I get 3, whatever. It's you're going to break the car. Don't break the car.
Well, and I don't know if you heard, Daniel, this has the narrowest spot on any track in the F1 calendar.
Yes.
I think they said that about 63 times.
Which is an average.
Qualifying. Which is an average of 1 every 10 minutes, given how long that qualifying session was.
Right.
They said that a lot. I think I saw an image of a couple of drivers literally stretched out across the narrowest section at one point. It was kind of an ode to the Beatles and their Abbey Road. Anyway, it was a good race for those top 3. Kimi Antonelli pulls out a 4th place finish. Liam Lawson, welcome back to the top. Liam Lawson in 5th place. Yuki Tsunoda snapping at his heels in that Red Bull 6th place finish. Lando Norris in 7th. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc in 8th and 9th, and Isaac Hadjar holding on to the points. He gets that one solitary point, 10th place.
Isaac really toeing the line of careful what you wish for, buddy. You keep performing like this, you're going to get that second Red Bull seat.
All right, so we don't, it turns out we talk F1 other places besides this podcast, and you and I were chatting about that this week. Hadjar, dude, just go for it. I do want to dive into sort of the winners of this. But one of the things I want to call out in this race was this is the first time where it felt like Yuki Tsunoda got a handle on that car and started looking really sharp. He started looking like he might actually have it under control.
He started looking like he was driving one of the best cars on the grid for the last 4 years.
Yeah. It started. that gap between him and Verstappen came down a little bit on this race. I mean, we'll see if he
Right.
can maintain that, but um, that was exciting to see. It was an interesting dynamic in general. Daniel, I'll call out my one of the big things that I kind of jumped out to me. Big takeaways of this was it really felt like some of the rest of the newbies. Right, you had we talked a lot about rookies to this point in the season, but the rest of the newbies, and I'm counting Sainz, Hamilton, and Tsunoda in that group, and arguably Lawson, sort of figured it out this race. It felt like that might be overstating for Hamilton, but we've been waiting for Sainz to have a race like this or have a weekend like this.
Yeah.
We've been
So
waiting for Tsunoda to have this kind of a weekend.
I agree. I agree. And Tsunoda made it into Q3. Didn't make it to Q3 Monza, right? Maybe out Q1, but still had a
Uh,
decent performance Mazda. So he's
Maybe
showing sort
10th.
of
I think he started 10th and then he fell to 13th. Yeah.
okay. So maybe I'm thinking of a different race for Yuki, but you're right.
I
He
don't know.
in this race, it was like okay, yeah, he's sort of contending. Even as you saw the track progression ebb and flow during qualifying, Yuki was typically a little less than half a second behind Max uh, on his best times. I mean, Q2 Max's best time was 41.255. Yuki was a 41.788. So right there at the half second mark. And to me, that's a good bit better than it has been. Granted,
Yeah.
Max did something crazy in Q3 and sort of blew all the hype away, or not, I don't
Right.
want to say hype, but there was a nice
There was a
building
moment where
tension in
it started
Q3.
looking, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because track evolution was just going in Sainz's favor, and he had pole position he had the last good hot time before the track started getting a little slick. And for me, that was like, oh wow, here's the moment. But even before that, because Albon, let me see what happened to Albon.
Albin crashed out in Q3 or Q1, Q1.
Q1.
Yeah,
He put a time on the board, but then he crashed out. That's what happened.
yeah.
So it's almost like, all right, well, the team only had signs to focus on for Q2, Q3, and then again in the race, Sainz was way at the back of the grid. So they were just like, nope, we gotta we gotta protect this podium potential for the one car we have in contention for that. And it
Albin was
was
at the back of the grid.
Albon
Albin
was
was
at
at the
the
back
back
of
of
the
the
grid.
grid,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
in my mind, it's like this is what happens when Williams really gets behind Carlos, because a lot of Carlos's performance this year, if you just look at it on paper and his points,
Mm.
has less to do with his driving and more to do with just bad luck.
He
You know,
called that out. Yeah, we talked about the curse of the Spaniards this year with
yeah,
Alonso actually claiming to have the worst luck ever, and then Carlos maybe having some of the worst luck. I think you're right. He called that out because in the post, I think it was the post race interview, they asked him. It might have been post qualifying. They asked him about it, and he said, I don't have a problem qualifying. Like my qualifying has been pretty good. Like they
yeah.
kind of insinuated, like, is it exciting to finally have some success here? And he's like, I mean, I qualify pretty well. It's been races where I've struggled. So
He actually, so to that point, he actually has out qualified Albon this year.
yeah,
Like with this race, with the outcome of qualifying this weekend, he is ahead. I think by one, but he is
yeah.
ahead of Alex Albon. Yeah,
Well, I mean, whether it really is, I mean, it's not like Hamilton had an incredible weekend. I felt like he was a little bit more in the mix. Maybe it was just that we were a little less negative. Although well, we'll get to Ferrari maybe in a minute here, but it was exciting to see some new faces. My big takeaway was it was a really enjoyable race just because it was exciting to see new faces at the top of the list.
right.
And even though there wasn't a massive amount of overtaking, you I still was trying to figure out where people were going to finish down to the last few laps, right? Whether Lawson was going to get past or not, whether Norris was going to be able to make up another spot. So it was exciting for that. I mean, it's exciting to see some other drivers at the top, even if it did take Piastri crashing out. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's again the nature of this fantastic sport that we love. But
Yeah,
to that point, yeah, it seems like the rest of the season isn't going to be quite as boring as we thought. I mean, to me,
right,
like as soon as it was like, well, the drivers' championship's not interesting, and there's going to be a big gap. You have a third contender kind of coming up and showing you that mathematically possible is actually
right,
potential. You
right.
also have the constructors title not being sealed up. I mean, McLaren is so close to being mathematically undefeatable. They could win if they had won, or if they'd placed a certain way with different teams placing a certain way this weekend. They could have just forfeited the rest of the season and taken the constructors championship, right?
Right.
So it's really interesting to see that, like, we've got. I mean, it's almost like it was intentional. It's almost like either McLaren or somebody else was just like, no, Piastri, you cannot have a good race weekend because we need
an intervention
viewership
from
for the
big
rest
racing.
of the. Yeah, the racing Illuminati stepped in.
That's right. Yeah, stepped in, locked down that front left tire, and sent Piastri into the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't finish Q3, right? He crashed out in Q3 without a time, and then, as we all know now, spoiler alert, but not even lap one. I want to like turn 4. He crashed himself out after a false start from
he was
ninth.
just off in general. The photo of him behind that chain link fence, just looking incredibly frustrating, was telling. Tough qualifying, and then it felt like a really silly error, kind of coming around the outside and just couldn't slow it down, locked up a left tire, and gently slid to the end of his race.
It was as if he wasn't actually in control of that. It was like it was happening to him and not because of him. So
that's your second reference to the racing Illuminati.
Oh, it won't stop. And here's the other thing. I think he knew it was coming. Where does he get this phone that he's watching the rest of the race on? Just like Leclerc on the dune in Zandvoort. I mean, we can sort of explain it. We're like, oh, someone just handed him their phone.
But Piastri was like tucked in the corner of like a guardrail.
He may have even brought his own folding chair. like the back wing of the McLaren just like pops off and the legs come down.
Just popped out those legs. Everybody's got to take their turn. I will say, so it was exciting to see Carlos Sainz. There was kind of like big ups and big downs for the weekend. Really exciting to see Carlos Sainz get a podium. Really exciting to see Verstappen get first place, only because it really starts at least giving some hope to the idea that maybe he can still claw back into the championship race for the driver championship. The big downs for me was I really wanted Norris to get 25 points on Piastri and close that gap again.
I wanted it to just flip right back to where it was.
Yeah. It's going to take me a minute to get over that disappointment, because if he can't close that gap down for the next couple of races, this was the moment. This was the time that he could have potentially gotten a pretty good
if your number one competitor is not going to F one race, you should definitely capitalize on that.
Right.
I don't know. Ferrari is always competitive at Baku. This was Max's first pole position at Baku. So that if you just think about how dominant Red Bull and Max have been, and to say like, oh, I mean, they've won Baku before. In fact, Checo Perez has won Baku before in a Red Bull.
Right.
But to say like, oh, this is the first time that the best driver and the best car for the last 4 years put it on pole for the weekend. Just that's how unique, I guess, the track is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So it's not the best race for Piastri to not finish and then to open the door for Norris to do something, because I guess the car just isn't the best car on this track, right?
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, I don't think Piastri was going to be catching Norris. It didn't seem. I mean, one thing to call out, for those who even I kind of got lost watching and trying to keep track of where everybody was. The reality is the top 8, 9 drivers didn't really do much. Like, they didn't really change much. Verstappen started first. He finished first. Carlos Sainz, George Russell kind of switched places a little bit. Liam Lawson fell from 3rd to 5th. Yuki Tsunoda, 6th to 6th. Lando Norris started 7th to 7th. There wasn't a whole lot of shift. Honestly, Lewis Hamilton was the only one who really jumped up to get into that top 10. Everyone else...
We should talk about that, though.
We could talk about Hamilton. Now, everybody else kind of stayed solid at the top. So the reality was there wasn't a lot of moving around in the top 10. I mean, you really had to get a 4-second stop to drop, a couple of spaces. All the work that Norris did to try and get a couple of spaces was undone with a pretty slow pit stop. If he even had a chance there, there just wasn't a lot of movement in the top 10. I'm surprised at why we're not talking more about George Russell. I mean, he made up 3 spots and was sick, but maybe he didn't complain enough about being sick. Maybe he should have thrown up in the pit lane or something. And then
and whether he called it out on the radio or not, we didn't hear a replay of him saying that someone was braking under or swerving under braking or moving under braking. which is a weird thing to not hear Russell say during
to
a
not
race
have.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a first. Check it off your first bingo card list there. Yeah, let's talk Ferrari. You want to talk Ferrari?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack Ferrari a little
FP2,
bit. Yep.
they are fastest, both of them. They take a 1-2 at the top of FP2. FP3 gets a little weird with the gusties, with the tailwinds, which I think plagued the sessions the rest of the week, or the rest of the weekend. FP3 windy, qualifying after that windy, the race sort of here and there windy, which probably is why the advantage that McLaren has, which is just a good bit of raw speed, but then tire management sort of went away because the stability of the car wasn't
Cars
there
bouncing
either.
around and moving around. Yeah.
But yeah, Ferrari was teed up to really be like, okay, this is the track for this car. And then what? What happened?
So a couple things. One, first, I want to call out FP for free practice. I assume most of the listeners know, but I just want to call that out. Daniel, can I confess something to you as an F1 fan, but a relatively newcomer?
Absolutely.
I don't
You're in the
believe
cone of trust here.
anything that happens in free practice. I don't believe a single thing that happens in free practice. So many times they're like, what happened? I mean, they were top of the charts in free practice 3. It looked like they were going to be dominant. It's like, yeah, that's because they were running as fast as they could on low fuel with like fast tires to see what they could do. And McLaren wasn't bothered. So they just cruised around and, tested out a new wing configuration and then dominated in the race. It's hard for me to believe anything that happens in free practice, but I did feel like watching Leclerc. He fought and fought and fought in qualifying and finally just crashed out. And that when he finally crashed out in qualifying, it just felt like you could tell he had pushed it right to the limit, slid into a wall, and was like, yep, that was bound to happen. And I don't really care, right? Like I'm just going to push it till I break it.
Okay, that's very valid. That's very valid. However, Leclerc's fastest time in FP2, say what you will about configuration, is fast enough to place him P2 in Q3 of qualifying. So
the wind changed things.
I'm with you because
right.
not everybody's going for the same thing in all the practice sessions, but no one's intentionally trying to be slow. And
True.
if you just look at those times, you could say, okay, well, like maybe not everyone was configured for qualifying, and that's not what they were testing on their car for this weekend, or that's not what they were trying to figure out what to do during the race or whatever. But if everyone is actually in qualifying and they only go a tenth or a tenth and a half faster than that fastest time of free practice,
that's fair.
There's something to be said there. But you're absolutely right, and for that reason, like free practice isn't that interesting to me. I like to see the results or like highlights or something like that. But
that's a good call out.
Yeah.
I mean, what do they say? Qualifying, you should always be your fastest in qualifying, right? You should see speeds in qualifying that you don't see any other time. Yeah, I mean, obviously Leclerc lost something if he or just lost a little bit of mojo.
Maybe he was kind of like starting to pick up whatever Russell had. Maybe Russell was coming off of his respiratory infection, but then spreading it to the rest of the grid.
I mean, it's a theory. But for me, aside from Charles Leclerc, which he didn't have a great weekend, he did go from 10th to 9th, which is not. I mean, it's not the worst thing you can do. Lewis Hamilton. Are we disappointed in 12th to 8th? I know we're disappointed in 12th, starting 12th, but a 4-point or 4-space grid jump for the race.
So it's not quite exactly that. I missed it during the regular broadcast, but if you're like me and you just keep obsessing over things after the fact, you would have seen Hamilton was, first of all, Hamilton we all saw during the race got a place given to him through team strategy.
Sure.
He had different compound tires, I think fresher as well. They were like, hey, go attack. I forget who was ahead, maybe Yuki Tsunoda that Leclerc couldn't quite get up to or get a chance at doing battle with. A lot of DRS train issues, which, they plagued Lando Norris as well. Not really my favorite type of racing, but whatever. So they were like, hey, swap positions. They swap positions. Hamilton gives it a shot. And then they're like, okay, nothing happened. So before the end of the race, we're going to give Leclerc his position back that he had. We're going to let him finish that way. And it was basically like on the last stretch, which as you probably know, the start stop line is pretty far down the straight. Like it's I mean, usual, unusual, I don't know, but there's a good ways to go before you get to the line. Well, either Hamilton just didn't catch the radio message or was distracted or I don't or just didn't want to, but he slowed down so late in the straight with Leclerc a second and a half behind him. Leclerc couldn't get past him before the finish of the actual race. So they didn't actually swap positions before the end of the race. So Hamilton in reality probably
I
should have started or
I
finished one position slower
I
or one
missed that.
lower, sorry.
Yeah, I that doesn't seem. I don't know. Do you switch back on the last? I guess you do. On the last lap, you got to switch back. Okay, so
I
he got
mean,
one
it's
of
not
those
like Leclerc
spaces
had like a
slightly
slow pit stop or
unfairly.
anything. It's not that's not why they swapped.
Right. Too
too
soon.
too soon. Sorry, guys.
I mean, I guess it's still disappointing. Again, I'll just say for the record, like, yeah, Ferrari is a great midfield team. They're doing a good job. They're really hanging in there, and
Right.
Ferrari cars are good. Hamilton's a decent driver. I I found myself thinking again this weekend. Nice job, guys. I think Sainz could have probably done better over there, but hey, people making
Well,
choices.
they're actually still second in the constructors, even though for some reason I thought I saw a graphic where Mercedes was hopping them, but
Yeah,
nonetheless, they're
I saw that as well. I don't know that maybe that hasn't been refreshed because Mercedes is up to 290, Ferrari's at 286. So I don't
okay. Then
know.
I'm looking at old numbers then. So Mercedes is now
Yeah,
second in
I
the
think
constructors, and
Mercedes is just
they definitely
barely.
got
They've
past Ferrari
pipped
this
them.
weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
Indeed.
They. But don't look now. Red Bull Racing is 272 behind that 286. So Max pulls out one more of those wins, and Yuki Tsunoda keeps it together, and they might scrap their way back into third, which will just fully lock in Max Verstappen not being able to leave Red Bull. I'm guessing. All right. Well, good race overall. I will say that qualifying was the most chaotic thing I've ever seen in F1 to date. Maybe besides like a nice rain. I think that start. I think it was the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix last year. That
Right.
felt like one of the
Yeah.
weirdest chaotic things. But it just felt like a red flag was inevitable by the end of qualifying. I've never seen a qualifying where by the time it ends, you just expect like any second now another red flag's going to come and all this is going to get mixed up again. I wish it was longer. I wish qualifying was two extra hours longer, like an actual race length, based on everything that happened. I think that would have been fun. Give them a chance to
Yeah, I
patch their
agree. I mean,
cars up.
first of all, it was a very long qualifying. Normally, qualifying is like an hour. This was 2. They had a record number of red flags, and the thing about it is, you have to red flag a qualifying session. You can't send a safety car out while the time's ticking off. Then you're just like, what are you even doing?
Right.
So that was crazy in and of itself. But then there was this like movie like finish or F1 movie like finish where Signs pretty much had it locked up because like the track conditions started deteriorating. It was slick. It was and somehow Max pulled a Max and took half a second out of Signs' time on a slick track. And I don't know if it was
Yeah.
the track just
Well,
started drying
Lando
up and
dried it for him a little bit.
well, there was a good bit of that. There were some toes, etc. But it was like,
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Max.
Yeah. I mean, just watching Verstappen go out there and just thinking, man, I think he's going to do it again. I think he's going to go back out here and pull out another first place. Just to remind everybody, I'm glad you're having a good weekend, but I'm still here. And we said it for so long this season. Piastri seemed like the computer set on advanced mode where like you can beat him, but you got to have a perfect race, right? Like he's just going to be metronomic. Whether it's because they've fallen back a little bit or Red Bull caught up a little bit or just some bad luck. Verstappen feels like that where again, most days you can beat him if you're at the top of your game and you have a better car, but if you don't, he's going to take first place and then just cruise away with I think he ended up with a
Yeah.
14 second gap.
Don't tempt Max with a slight advantage. He will take advantage.
He will take it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. So now actually one other thing, we talked about Max, we talked about Piastri and his crash out and the unfortunate Ferraris. We didn't talk a whole lot about Lando Norris. Lando had a quiet race. My hopes that he would make hay while the sun shines and take 25 points out of Piastri's lead. They faded pretty quickly. I felt like if you watched his race, this was a boring race. This was like a slow, boring race with a frustrating pit stop in the middle of it. If you watched almost anybody else's race, it was an exciting battle, holding off the Ferraris, things like that. Lando just, even when he was pushing hard, he couldn't really make any inroads to get a pass done. It's just a slow race, kind of uninspired from Norris.
Yeah. So in my mind, the McLaren's advantages are, oh, you don't think we can do 40 laps on the soft tire? Okay, we'll show you. This is how
Right.
you do it. So like we want to give ourselves the biggest window for anything to happen, safety car, whatever it might be, and take advantage of that. We're going to be in the right place at the right time because we
Sure.
aren't forced into a pit stop.
Right.
This weekend, it seemed like Lando was just on the wrong tire first. As soon as he got onto the hard tire, a little too late in the game, if you ask me, he was a lot racier. So, and I think the hard tire, that was the best compound for this track. It either, whether it took, a little more time to warm up or not, I don't know, but that's the tire Max chose to go out on first. And it seems like, yeah, your advantage over everyone else just goes away when it's not the right track for that being the best advantage. So in my mind, Lando, had he started on the hard tire, might have progressed through that DRS train somehow, or might have stayed away from it somehow, and may have had a better start to the race, and then would have been in a better spot to actually climb up the grid.
Yeah.
However, we know, they were like, well, we can make the medium tire last as long as we want, so we'll just start on the medium,
Right.
and we'll keep our options open for later in the race, and that just had Lando stuck in a DRS train,
Yeah.
and add 2 seconds to his pit stop. Now he can't undercut Tsunoda.
Right. Yeah. Maybe something like that would have helped. I mean, again, we talked about how the top 7, 8, drivers didn't really switch up a whole lot. Really, it was just Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson who probably should not have been in second and third anyway, sliding and allowing others to kind of shuffle up a little bit. But there wasn't a whole lot of movement. So I did find myself torn every now and then. There'd be like a 10-lap stretch where you just think nothing is happening. No one can pass anyone. There's DRS trains everywhere. Felt a little bit like Monaco. But then thered be some excitement with those top 3. I think really watching Sainz and hoping that he was going to hold out to the end was one of the more exciting aspects of this race. Seeing a couple of unusual names up there was exciting as well. But I did a quick reaction for you. This isn't really necessarily a quick reaction, but I don't know why it took me so long to think of this, and probably others out there have thought of this, but I think I figured out in this race how we fix Monaco and possibly this race as well. We just need big bumpers around the cars, right? Like big like go-kart style bumpers for Monaco, and then just say you can hit each other. Like, don't break anything, but just like scooch in there.
So we're not causing a collision flags this time. You've got the extra protection.
Yep.
Keep it civil.
Yeah.
But do your worst. Rubbing is racing this weekend.
Yeah, and my thought was you could make the rule. You still have to be alongside. You still have to have the space and so forth. But if there's someone side by side and you're going around a tight turn, I mean, just squeeze them into the wall and keep going. I feel like that would be an enjoyable race. Yeah,
a little boopsy.
Yeah. Well, all right. Fun qualifying, interesting race. Fun seeing some change to the top. Not a ton of activity or a ton to look at. If you miss qualifying, you missed all the real excitement.
This was very much like Monaco in the sense that qualifying sort of determined the outcome of the actual race, and there wasn't enough real opportunity to overtake in the real race to get away from that.
Yeah,
but in my mind, I did think a little bit of like people talk about expanding the track at Monaco or something, taking that chicane out and giving you a long straightaway. We'd probably just get Baku, pretty much.
Yeah. And I will say, for what it's worth, I still think Baku is a really fun track. It's really fun to watch. It's beautiful. There's a literal castle, which my reserve drivers love. Just spotting that castle every time they come around. That tight spot where they weave up between that castle and the wall, it's such a narrow spot. It's impossible not to see how fast they're going and to kind of sit back. What do they always say in the commentator back? Like we all like stepped back in the commentator box because it looks like every time they're going to rip their left wheel off and then rip their right wheel off. It's really fun to watch. It's a good track. All right, Daniel, I've got a real quick reaction for you.
Let's go.
Is Verstappen's Baku light up trophy the best trophy of the season? Did you notice that his trophy like lit up?
I did not notice the light up nature of the trophy. I did notice that it seemed like the material it was made of was really interesting. I don't know if it was carbon fiber or whatever, but I was like, that's a cool looking trophy.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
It looked like some like ancient like black stone. Yeah, it was probably just carbon fiber or something. It like lit up, and all three of them were the same kind of shape, but his was quite a bit larger, and it had like red lights that like kind of went up and down the beams of the thing. I thought that was one of the coolest trophies I've seen.
And that wasn't like a reflection of some kind. That wasn't like someone with the laser or something.
No, because they panned over to that little, is it like a Gucci box or something, like the big chest that they
I think it's Louis Vuitton. Yeah,
Louis Vuitton. Sorry, I don't know my packing cases, my European packing cases. But they had that like opened up with it on display, and it was like glowing, and I thought, well, maybe they have some like light effect on it. But when they took it off and handed it to him, it kept pretty slick.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to do some digging into that after the fact.
I think it goes light up Baku trophy, Lego trophy that Hulkenberg won, and then probably everything else. Probably that half broken one that Hadjar broke, but probably the top three for me. All right, you got any quick reactions for me, Daniel?
Yeah, so there's rumors of one Christian Horner working an angle to get into Aston Martin, whether it be through charm or good looks or actually like acquiring a piece of the team. I don't know how any of it makes sense, but my quick reaction for you is, would you like to see Christian Horner and Adrian Newey on the same team again?
Yes, I would. I don't have to be on that team. I don't have to worry about what dynamics are. So absolutely, I want to see Christian Horner back on the grid. Yeah. Assuming that he didn't actually do something super sketchy where he should have been removed from F1 in the first place, which I don't know that we're ever.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't want a scumbag out there, but if he's made his mistakes,
Correct. Yeah.
If the same court that's deciding, if the same court that's deciding whether or not you can contest your F1 championship that you lost has looked at the evidence of this and decided that Christian Horner is innocent, then yes, I want Christian Horner back on the grid.
Okay. Yeah, same here. Like no nefariousness. Yeah, let's keep him on the grid.
Yeah.
The thing that interests me most is if he makes it onto a team with Adrian Newey. I don't care if it's Aston Martin or not. If he does that and they're back together again, then that to me just says Max Verstappen is going to that team.
Right.
I don't know why. It's just, to me, it's Honda power. It's Adrian Newey aerodynamics. It's Christian Horner calling the shots.
It's Red Bull 2.0.
It's 2022, 23, 24 again,
I don't know. I have read a lot about the dynamics between Max Verstappen, Jos Verstappen, Dr. Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, Sergio Perez. I don't know how many other people you want to throw in that mix.
This sounds like an Ian Fleming novel that we're reading in our spare time.
Dr. Helmut Marko and the Verstappen brothers. I've read a lot about it. I don't know how much I believe about any of it, right? Like any given time you read something, it's like, well, how much does Jos really like Dr. Helmut Marko? I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that with the last couple of wins, that maybe everyone's getting along better at Red Bull. And there could be something to the whole Christian Horner didn't necessarily get along that well with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I do think it fits because if you're going to be Christian Horner and you're going to go over to another big team with Adrian Newey and Verstappen's coming over there, you do need sort of like a really kind of powerful aging figure. And without Flavio Briatore, you're going to have to use Lawrence Stroll. That's going to have to be your guy. And that kind of works out. So like 3 teams to choose from.
Flawless
Aston Martin's
logic.
Stroll, yeah. It does feel a little bit like copy paste, but just in green if we do that. So
Well,
I can see
that was my quick reaction for you. So thanks for rolling with it.
Yeah, sure. Let me ask you another one here. Did Tsunoda do enough to save himself in Red Bull?
Honestly, if it is a stepping stone along the trajectory that he began a couple races ago, and he continues to bump his way up, we'll see. I mean, I don't think there's like
Okay.
a deadline here, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think silly season's over. So if he continues to show that, like, yeah, they finally got the car in a position that I could drive it, and it's Max isn't the only person that can get the most out of it. I mean, obviously the car is improving for Max as well. He's putting up some pretty good performances. So if that rising tide can continue lifting Tsunoda's boat, and he shows like, hey, all I needed was a moderately drivable car this whole time. I'm actually a good driver. I think he could save himself. I think 2 more races where he, if he can just finish right behind Max at some point, which I think at this pace with what's going on at McLaren, with Ferrari, sort of like, are they going to show up? Are they not? I think that Tsunoda stands a chance to be on the podium this year. So if that happens, especially, I think he's got it locked up.
Okay. I hope. I mean, as you would imagine, and you probably saw, there was a lot of chatter this weekend. Is Hadjar going to get bumped up? Is he going to move up? It was good to see Yuki have a good race. From an outside perspective, obviously, to me, it just feels like continuing to shuffle that Red Bull team is a bad idea. Primarily just because, can you really say that Hadjar is better than Yuki? They've both had some moderate success, right? I think Hadjar's had a better rookie season, but seeing Yuki have a little bit more performance to at least level that playing field a little bit before you just rip him out of the seat and drop someone else into it. I'd like to kind of hold out. I'd also like to get him to Singapore into a totally different track and see, okay, have they actually figured out something? Did Laurent Mekies come in and say, make some changes where at least now they know that the car is more predictable, or they know what to expect from it with a low downforce configuration. If it goes sideways again in Singapore and it's just all Max squeezing something out of that car and somehow getting a third place finish and Yuki down in 17th, I'd be worried for him. But.
Yeah, he did. It didn't seem like he was doing his normal like argy bargy stuff around the track this weekend, which is what he had to be doing most of the season this year to like hang on to what he could hang on to. So it definitely seemed like a more controlled operation of the car by Yuki. So yeah, 100% agree. If as long as he doesn't go sideways the rest of the season, I don't know why they would go, well, let's just keep this revolving door going of different drivers in the car.
Yeah.
And honestly, early on in the episode, when I made a comment about careful what you wish for Hadjar, it's more of a comment to the team's willingness to just recycle, or whatever you want to call that, just like just not give anyone a real good long chance. But hopefully it's not the case for Tsunoda. Like as you know, as everyone should know, I like Tsunoda, always have.
I like Tsunoda. I think again, I've beaten this drum too much, so I'm gonna leave it alone today. But I will just say it's another good reason not to have an extra 2 seats in another car, because when you don't have those 2 seats, you actually have to make good decisions. You can't just be like, well, let's swap them down and bring another one up. Like, stop. You just use your drivers, give them a chance. Put a little more skin in that game for swapping them out. If you're right and Christian Horner goes to Aston Martin and then they pick up Max Verstappen, maybe they won't have to choose. It'll just be Yuki Tsunoda and Hadjar.
That's true.
We'll see. I hope the best for Yuki. I'd love to see him perform. I was joking with you earlier that at this point, there is part of me that wants to see them just, contrary to what I just said, just keep cycling drivers up, just bring Hadjar up and see who can take their shot at Verstappen. And somehow maybe one of them, like Hadjar, jumps in that car. It's a perfect fit, and suddenly the unshakable Max Verstappen actually looks, touchable. It wouldn't be a terrible end of the season.
I will say, at the beginning of the race, I was thinking, all right, Lawson is in 4th, so he is 1 row behind Max. At some point, he could be in a position to get around him. Like, Max doesn't have the best of starts, which would be not a very Max thing to have. But you never know. And I'm thinking, like, will we find out? Does that Racing
Can
Bulls
you
come to a
pass?
screeching halt?
Yeah, it's just like
before going around Max on this.
we don't
on
share
the
any
lap one
parts.
chaos could be.
Yeah, we don't share any parts, but the car will not actually pass the Red Bull car. Like, it just has an automatic limiter in it.
Yeah.
Warning: you are passing a Red Bull. Your career at
Terrain, pull up.
Terrain, pull up. Oh boy! All right. Well, on that note, I think it's probably time. Do you have any more quick reactions for me?
No, nothing for me.
Obviously, my reactions are lightning fast tonight. So, I hope you enjoyed the race. I hope you had a great weekend with Formula One. Next up is Singapore. We've got a couple weeks to Singapore here. So Singapore, I really enjoy Singapore. It's another. I probably shouldn't. It sometimes is slow and there's not a lot of overtaking, but there's something about it. Feels like you're.
It's one of the most exhausting races for the drivers because it's so hot, even at night.
Yep.
Maybe it's the humidity too. I don't know, but it's kind of cool to see them actually have to struggle a little bit sometimes. You know, it's not the only.
To see them actually earn their money. These kids just driving around all the time.
Well, it brings another element to the competition, right? So
it does. There's also kind of an element of it's that's human nature where we're all horrified when you're hearing some stories about the Titanic sinking or some awful cave divers getting stuck, but like you can't look away. There's always that moment where one of the drivers is like, and they're like, "You're all right, buddy?" It's like, "Oh, I just threw up in my helmet a little bit." And as a viewer, you're just thinking like, "That's a nightmare scenario."
Yeah, exactly.
I can't look away. That and them getting out of their cars and diving into ice baths and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. It's an endurance sport in Singapore. So we'll see you for Singapore. In the meantime, catch up on all your social media posts. Make sure Lewis Hamilton's doing all right, spending some time with Roscoe.
Got another shout out here for a wellness check on Lewis.
Hey, hang in there, Lewis.
Poor guy. He is not happy.
You're doing all right. Yeah. You didn't have a terrible race. You probably should have given that spot back to Leclerc at the end there. But and on that note, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe. Save us your favorites. Send us along to a friend, and please add a comment. Throw a comment in the chat. And if we don't talk to you before then, we'll see you at Singapore. Thanks as always to our legendary pit wall producer, Chris P.
Chris P.
And we'll see you next time on the Critical Lap.
Later.